Barre series, we are going to be running through 4 exercises that help us to lift, strengthen, and tone our legs and our whole body, really, for that matter. Everything's always related. So let's go ahead and get started. You need a chair, and we're going to take our first position or external rotation of our toes. About arm's distance away, we step this leg back. We turn out our knee and we feel our glute fire. From right here, we're gonna lean forward as we lift our leg up. And as we lift that leg up, our chest rolls forward in opposition to that leg. So I really like to make sure that you can look at your own form to correct for what's needed as I run through what I call our barre checklist. And we will lift. I'm pointing my toe, and on my standing foot, I'm pushing out from big toe, little toe, heel, and maintaining that soft bend in this knee, the standing knee, if you will. This exercise is one of my absolute favorites, and it's not just because the name is attitude. Although, don't you love an attitude? Okay, so the next one, you lift an attitude and you kick your leg out. And then you pitch yourself forward. And as you lean your chest forward, that leg reaches back behind you. You're pointing that toe. And at least for me, I'm feeling it in my abs as I do that. It is a lot of core work to lean forward, supporting that lower body. And that's wonderful. So thinking of growing out of that leg and growing out of that hip as you kick back. Sometimes I will cue people also to have an imaginary target that you're gonna hit every single time. I really love to engage imagination and creativity with every exercise and see how fast this is going. Okay, we're gonna lift for about, well, now we only have 2, speaking of quick. And then we'll take a quiz here in just a second. So our next movement is gonna be this knee pull. And I have this a 3-pound weight here. And you're probably wondering why. Well, if you wanna spruce this up, especially for the second round, you can reach for this weight. And then I like to lift it up to the ceiling. As my knee comes in, so on the next one, I'll show you, it drops down and the two don't touch, but they do meet in space. And this is a lot harder than just the leg. So here's the thing. Once you master your knee pull, then add the weight. You don't need to go crazy and add the weight right away. And then how high your knee is too, this is super important, is determined by your hip flexibility. So you don't necessarily need to, I'm gonna pivot here so you can see me for our 4th move. You don't necessarily need to keep it as high as me. Our 4th move here is our arm reaches up with weight or not, depending on you. And we just have this beautiful oblique crunch, which you will also see a lot in our movements. I love this one. It is challenging our inner and outer oblique sling system, which is awesome. Now, as we reach our toe and arm away, you're feeling that stretch. That's also super important because all of these moves build flexibility and strength equally. And we'll just be doing a few-ish more-ish. Sorry. I think that's funny, but it's like kind of kid humor, which I do have children. So my kid humor is going strong, if you will. Then we're gonna come back and we're gonna do all of those moves once again on the same side. It's our second set. And once you learn the moves, you can definitely feel free to either mute the video or just do them on your own. So stepping this leg back, floating this hand, we're gonna be lifting that leg up right here. I'm really focusing on keeping that knee turned out If I was to cue breath, if you're somebody that likes to hear breath cued, there's more common in Pilates, but I will cue it here too. So your exhale as your leg lifts up behind you would be pretty ideal. And the reason for that is the further away our legs are, or arms for that matter, from the core, the harder our core has to work. So that exhale gets that transverse abdominals, and now it's time to kick while I go on my rant about, what was I on a rant about? No, I'm kidding. The exhale gets your transverse abdominals to fire, and that's very, very important. And let's keep kicking. Good work. We have about 5. And kicking, reaching further. Maybe your hip feels more open right now. That is awesome. These are also really great for our medial glutes, which is a pelvic stabilizer. It's important. Reach for that weight if you want. I'm going to show you level 2 for the first 5. So doing it without any weight, maybe you're just having a day. That's what I like to call days that are pretty intense. So you would keep both hands down. If you're feeling a little more feisty, you could keep the arm up here the whole time. If you are feeling like, Kat, I want to make this hard and effective, then you can definitely add this weight. No problem there. We have about 5 more. And keep in mind, I'm going to show you if your hip isn't as flexible, it looks more like this, and that's totally fine. A great way to measure that is if it goes into your back, your leg's probably just a little bit too high. We're going to pivot here for our 4th and final move. So go ahead and cross that leg, reach that weight across, and then in space, they meet. They do not have to touch. Sometimes in class, people get a little obsessed with the touching, like of the elbow and the knee. You don't have to do that. It's just the general. And actually, the stretch is something I would like you to focus on more than the actual contraction here. So often we're looking for the hard spot in our workout without thinking about the other parts of it, or hard part of the move, I should say. And then 2. And last one right here. Let's pivot and do the other side. So we're going to turn our chair here, and then we'll place our weight here, making sure that we turn out our feet or arms distance away from our chair. The opposite hand is the one that's going to go down onto the seat of the chair. So we'll step this back, and then we will lift. Triple checking to see, are we going to kick the mirror behind us? Could be a real life situation there. And I'm still squeezing my glute. I'm thinking about the shape of my leg behind me so that I'm staying present in the moment. And these little things add up. It's kind of like when we think of NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. It just means that, like, are you taking the stairs instead of the elevators? Those kinds of things. Those are great things to think about. And these small little things, they add up. And in Phoenix, this time of the year, I would never take the stairs. It's too hot. You could pass out. And then I don't know if anybody will find you. I'm gonna scoot this chair forward, resume my activity, and now kick back behind me. I did not hear the mirror get shattered. So that's exciting, especially because it was a gift. You know, how do you explain to your husband, I shattered a mirror? And then I'm not looking straight down. I'm keeping my chin lifted. If you notice any difference from side to side, know that that's exactly why we isolate one side and then the other. It's completely normal. Imbalances are common. So we're going to do about 5 more right here. And we kick it. Another way to spruce it up or to make it harder would be to add more repetitions. And then if that's still you're thinking, I'm feeling like spunky, you can definitely add on those ankle weights I always talk about. So right here, we're gonna be doing our knee pull. You wanna be light on your hands as you draw that knee towards that shoulder. Now we're not like trying to directly pull it into the shoulder. That's what that would look like. That wasn't a good rep. Instead, I'm thinking more of drawing it globally, if that makes sense, like the outside of a globe. It's more of a circular manner, if you will. You definitely can add the weight like we did before. I'm gonna do that for my last 5 reps. So I'm reaching for my weight, it's up to the ceiling, and I pull. And I lower that arm. So the weirder the things are, ooh, I almost fell. That can happen too, and I'm not gonna edit that out. Not at all, and not today. Okay, I'm human. So, which ironically was my mom's maiden name. So kick this weight over here, and then let's do our little crunch. Yeah, I don't know if I should have told you that for security reasons. And then make sure that you keep that soft bend in your standing leg. And you might see my hand tap the ceiling. It used to be a garage in here. I turned it into a studio, so you should too. Take over your garage, see what people say. Or 2, you can make it your cave, as they say. Let's just do 5 more. Really think of stretching through the toes, stretching through that arm. This actually will help you breathe better, that stretch here. Believe it or not, helps to lengthen this whole thing. And we'll do 2. And last one right there, second set, let's go. So place that weight here, resume your wonderful Pilates stance. Hope the microphone didn't pick up on that. Step that leg back, turn the knee out right here. We're gonna tip forward and come back. So we're not thinking about actually like having to move our upper body or lower body. It literally is like you're just tipping forward, delivering something. You could be bowing to the chocolate gods so you can eat more chocolate. And 5, that was a dumb joke. And 4, because I just had chocolate. I had a client bring me Seattle's chocolate, which are some of my favorites. So they're really good if you haven't tried them. Let's go ahead and kick this toe out, reach and stretch that out. And again, if you're gonna be adding those ankle weights, the most important thing to think about, don't load up too heavy too fast, because everything we do, at least in my workouts, is meant to really target our auxiliary muscles. These are our little teeny stabilized muscles. Yeah, so we use high repetition, relatively low weight to challenge ourselves. It's a completely different type of strength. Like I was at the gym yesterday, reach for this weight. Notice one side might not be as good as the other, which is also why I fell earlier. This is definitely my more challenging side for my balance. I'm trying to be light on my hand here and not just plop all of my weight here. But I also know by the end of this series, one way I can really tell that I am getting fatigued, at least, is that I notice how heavy I'm placing weight onto this hand. And so that's a thing. Let's do 5 more. So reach through the toes, reach your hands, feel that stretch, feel that strengthening. They go together. That's how we get balance in the body. So let's go for 3. Reach it up, and 2. Awesome work. And then let's stand up. Okay, so from right here, we're gonna reach our weight to the ceiling and slightly over at this angle, and we're gonna have this oblique crunch. If your hip clicks or pops, this is a common occurrence. You're not the only one. I won't go into why that's happening. I could if you want me to. But instead, try to adjust so maybe you're not turning your knee out as far. And then really reach to that hand, continuing to stretch that side body, moving those intercostals with your breath. And we'll do a couple more. Okay, a couple more, like 5 more right here. And 5. We are going to be finishing off this whole series with, I think I should name this all a cat's favorite things, because you will see why in a second. That's right. We're going to be finishing off this series with plies. So if you need the chair, take it. I'm going to be using the chair. I'm just going to place my weight right there. I don't need it. I'm going to step out pretty wide, second position, and then, or horse position. My hands are really light. Here, I roll my shoulders down and back. I come down and I press up. Here's your checklist. So which leg are you putting more weight on? We all tend to be a one leg leaner. We want to adjust for that in real space, in real time. So right now I'm trying to put just a little bit more weight onto my left leg because I'm a right leg leaner myself. So let's go for 3 and 2, and I promise to stop playing with my hair, and hold it right here. So I'm super light cotton candy fingers right here. I'm going to lift my heels and lower. I'm continuing to draw my tailbone straight down as I roll my hip points up to these rib points. I might get a little bit lower, and I'm also trying to, as I lift these heels, to balance between big toe, little toe, and we'll do about 3 more. Good. And 2, and then keep those heels up. Get down a little bit lower. Knees are going to press back towards the wall behind me, as if there was something behind them. I'm trying to tap. I always say a crosswalk button. I don't know. We'll do about 5 more. And 4, and 3. Press those knees back. Get down a little bit lower. Float your hands if you want this extra challenge. And we're just going to come down, hold, come down, hold. And I'm cueing that because what I tend to do is want to pop right back up. I'm subconsciously trying to get out of the hard part of the movement, because our bodies and minds are inherently efficient. And they are thinking, how can I work easier? Go ahead and reach those arms out right here. And we're going to finish off just with some little pulses for 4, 3, 2. Reach those arms straight up to the sky. Press those knees back. You're almost there. Don't give up now. Get lower. Draw that tailbone down towards the ground, maintaining that pelvic tilt, or rather lack of it. Neutral pelvis. For 3, 2, hold. Come on out of that. You're amazing. So I'm really proud of you. We're going to do a very quick piriformis figure 4 stretch. So going to sit on your chair, crossing your ankle over the opposite, sitting up really tall, fighting those sits bones, using this hand on the inside of your inner thighs. Float your head up, hinge forward, don't round. Those are important. And then have the sensation like the head is growing long, and then you exhale and you pitch yourself forward from your hip crease. Good. And then we'll do 1 more on the other side. Everybody needs a piriformis stretch. Our piriformis is fascinating to me. Hand comes right here, grow through the crown of the head, and then hinge forward. So often when other muscles in our hips atrophy or aren't as strong, our piriformis, which is pretty short, tight little muscle, will try and take over the duties of others. So lengthening it and strengthening it is good. Grow through the crown of the head, pitch yourself forward from those hip creases, and really breathe. Have the sensation like you're shooting out of a cannon, and then forward. That was it. You did amazing. Thank you so much. Let me know what you thought of that video. Have the best day.